That's me from 10 years ago. I was a literal neckbeard. If I could go back 10 years and say something to myself, what do you think it would be? Maybe I'd say, bro, you nearly lick Aaron Hansen. If you were just a little bit more seductive, you could have been a Game Grump. Maybe I'd break the news to myself that I never become a pop icon, at least in the way I was trying. I don't know if I could handle the idea that all the songs I was writing about the girls I had crushes on never won their hearts. Maybe I'd tell myself to be quiet once in a while. Jesus! So obnoxious. I guess some things never change. Now, the reason for this video is actually because it's Hueyon's 10th anniversary, and one of the things they've invited people to do on social media is to share a conversation or a message they might have for themselves 10 years ago. But before we get to my conversation with myself, I just want to thank Hueyon for sponsoring this video. They've just launched a stunning and affordable 4K drawing tablet, and they've got loads of prizes and discounts and competitions with awesome stuff to be won. Competition for people to draw their favorite period in history, or for artists to show the progress they've made in the last 10 years. I mean, look at this guy. He's stunned. Stunned at the amount of great products and new releases for you to check out on the Hueyon website. And at the amazing progress Hueon's made in the last 10 years, from their humble beginnings to the 410 in 2011 to the 2021 Canvas Pro 16 4K. Hueyon have come a long way, and not to mention the fact that this is actually the 5th year that they have been a support to this channel. So I am incredibly grateful for their support. I love their products, and if you're interested in starting or improving on your art and animation, why don't you make 2021 the year you get yourself a Hueyon tablet so future you can thank you later. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, that guy. So, as you know, I'm pretty cringe now. That hasn't changed, but I was extra cringe 10 years ago. I was trying really hard to be something. And yeah, that kind of thing, especially when it's as obnoxious as it was, can be pretty grating and a bit desperate on the surface. But you know, I meant well. And I worked my guts out back then. I mean, I still do, but it didn't really bring much to show for it. But honestly, 10 years ago was the toughest period of my life, which is why I wanted to make this video. I think in part because it's good to look back and remind yourself of where you come from or what you've been through, but also I think maybe there might be some people watching this who are going through a tough time and struggle to see what the other side might look like, or that there might be another side. And I think sometimes a bit of shared perspective can help, and I'm hoping this does. So 10 years ago, well, first of all, I was going broke. Like the Flash market, I made Flash games and animations. Let's just say it was going downhill fast. Now, previously, I was doing pretty well in this space. In fact, I got a shitty mortgage for a shitty house. And I had a shitty car that I used to use a Kmart jump starter pack to hook up to the battery every time I turned it on. The window was held up by a coat hanger, and the fabric of the roof were held on by staples. But it was my shitty car and my shitty house. I had 2 singing students every week, and if either of them cancelled their lesson, I didn't have fuel money that week, and I had a $700 credit card that I never raised the limit on because it was always maxed out, and I was terrified of falling into more debt. Those shots of me playing on the street every week, that was something I did in part because I wanted to achieve something, and I did enjoy it, but at the same time it was one of the main ways I could keep my bills paid, and it was really hard work. And sometimes I went home with barely enough money just to pay for the train ride home, which was really demoralizing. I did everything I could to make ends meet and keep working as a self-employed artist. I sold my drum kit and my prized Warhammer collection and my debut album just to try and keep the bills paid. And if I'm honest, it was extra hard because nobody bought my album. But that was probably because it was bad. I mean, it was really bad. Maybe that's why I was broke. Now, I never let that stuff get me down. I'm not saying all this stuff to try and get a pity party or anything, just to try and give a little bit of context. I feel like I've always had a pretty good outlook when it comes to just sort of getting by, but it was more the personal stuff that I struggled with. My self-esteem in particular, and it was around this time that I left my childhood religion, which I guess gave me a lot of sense of my identity for 21 years, and to be honest, a lot of friends or social groups that I was a part of. So 10 years and 2 months ago, I found myself without many friends and with kind of a blank slate as far as figuring out who I was or what my life was all about. I didn't like myself a lot, and I struggled with bulimia all through my late teens, and I was getting counselling for it around the time, and it was around here that I started to overcome it, but it was a real struggle. In particular, how I saw myself and how little respect I had for myself. So I wasn't equipped to deal with a lot at the time. And 10 years and 1 month ago, my best friend Alex died in a car crash. So 10 years ago, I was broke, I had a failed career, and I was lost and very, very lonely. I didn't like myself, and I didn't know what I would do or if I was worthwhile. If I could say anything to myself 10 years ago, it'd be, don't worry, everything's gonna be all right. Not just all right, everything is gonna be amazing. I mean, not even amazing, dude, 10 years from now, every dream you have ever had will come true. The stuff you make is gonna be seen 1 billion times over, and I'm not exaggerating. Your bills will be paid and your kids will be fed. And yeah, you got kids. 2 adorable, beautiful, kind children you would do anything for. You're gonna love them so much and they're gonna love you back. You're gonna call your son Mini Jazza in videos you make just to keep his name private, but he'll cotton onto that. He doesn't mind. In fact, he loves it. He calls himself Mini Jazza just because he wants to be just like his daddy. And your daughter, she'll be born ready to take on the world, and she's an artist too. She loves music and drawing and singing. They're the best thing you will ever make. And your wife, that idea you've been playing with to join the local theatre company, you'll meet her there. And even when everyone else looks down on you and talks behind your back or bullies you because you're a bit goofy or socially awkward, she'll see you, the real you, and you're going to become best friends, and then you're going to marry her. 10 years from now, every dream you've ever had will come true. The real dreams, the best dreams. But I'm no different to you, where you are now. In fact, you get where I am by being exactly who you are. So don't change one bit. Just remember, you're worthwhile, exactly as you are right now. And even though not a lot of other people are telling you that right now, just hang in there, because everything's going to be okay. So that was my conversation with myself. I got a little bit emotional. I tend to. I'm a very sentimental person. You know this about me by now. But I think the reason I get a little choked up when thinking about that, and in this video in particular, is for 2 reasons. One, I don't take for granted where I am and what I'm able to do and what life has brought me, and I'm really grateful for that. But also, I don't take for granted how hard it is to be in that down place. And I know there are people watching this video who will feel like that. I think that it's something I've become quite aware of after doing this for so long, is that there are people who are struggling who at times look to something I've made as something that's been helpful. And I really do hope that this little piece of my perspective is in some way helpful to some of you watching this. So I actually want to open it up to you guys. And this is something I actually requested of Huion when I told them this video concept. I wanted to invite you to do the same thing that I did in this video, to make an artwork depicting you having a conversation with yourself with a 10-year gap. So it might be you now talking to yourself 10 years in the past, like I did, or it might be a depiction of you now talking to yourself 10 years in the future, maybe where you want to be or who you hope to be. And I'm really hoping that this exercise will be something that will bring people some insight or some hope or some encouragement or gratitude or perspective in a way that I think can really matter. And I think art can really matter. We have a lot of fun here with art and creativity, but it's also good to remember that it can be a tool, and it can be a powerful tool for expression and thought and feeling. And I hope those of you who get involved and do that really get something from that. There's also prizes up for grabs, so there's the opportunity to get even more out of that. They've actually contributed the brand new Canvas Pro 16 4K, this year's model, which is insane, and 3 tablets of their X series, which is their 10-year anniversary series. So that's the HS610 10-year anniversary edition, the 580 10-year anniversary edition, and the 420X. So go get involved. I'll put the details in the description. It's a Twitter competition, so just use the hashtag, submit by the deadline, and maybe share a little bit. You don't have to be too personal, but maybe just share a thought, or maybe a phrase or something that might be said. This is a different video, a lot more sentimental than the usual, but those of you who have been around here for any particular period of time know that I am prone to that, and that is who I am, and that's not changing. So thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.